Do you want to know the secret to becoming more athletic? It's not just putting on as much muscle as possible. It's all about strengthening your movement patterns. With strong movement patterns, you can absorb force in the most optimal way possible. You'll be more explosive, you won't be in as much day-to-day pain, and you'll reduce the chances of non-contact injuries. So here's how. Phase 1. Groundwork. The first step to changing your movement is by decompressing the musculoskeletal system. We do this by getting on the ground and focus on activating muscle groups that will create space for the ball and socket joints to open and close while activating the back chain. This is not the same as stretching. Phase 2. Isometrics. When performing isometrics out of healthy landing positions, you are coding your central nervous system to subconsciously use these muscle groups during your sport. The longer you hold these positions, the more healthy inputs you are feeding into your central nervous system. Phase 3. Traveling drills. Once you've enforced proper muscle activation into the CNS, it's time to put all the pieces together. This is when it's time to lock in on what we call a bow-to-corner relationship. It's about teaching your body to load force out of a 22.5-degree external rotation, the bow, and then transferring that force with a 22.5-degree internal rotation, the corner.
Athletes, if you're looking to get more explosive, stop scrolling. If you guys have seen my previous videos, you know I'm not a fan of heavy back squats and power cleans. These exercises are supposed to make you more explosive, but the negative effects outweigh the positive effects. When we catch the bar in a clean, we land in this inside ankle and low position with the knee slightly caving in. This is the same exact position that people are tearing their ACLs out of, so we have to replace that exercise. So the best way to replace cleans is with a landmine squat press. These are way more effective than power cleans because you're doing it from an inside ankle bone high position, which is the position that we need to have when we're moving around on a field or court. You're also working on loading what we call a bow, which is how you safely absorb force. Once the pressure is loaded, you're transferring it with what we call a corner, which is when your heels flick away. This is going to make you way more explosive and reduce your chance of injury. Lastly, we do these out of a back chain dominant position, meaning that your butt is back and your head is forward. Not only does this make you way more explosive, but it's going to strengthen all the muscles in your back, which is a lot of the reason why people experience chronic pain. So working on these elements of inside ankle bone high, a bow, and back chain dominance is going to allow us to subconsciously start to move like the most durable athletes of all time. Dozens of professional athletes have altered their focus from putting on muscle to actually strengthening their movement patterns so they can move pain-free in games. As a result, these athletes have become much more durable and more explosive.
I have so many people telling me that it's all about trying to produce as much force as possible, but that's not what it's about. It's about absorbing force in the most optimal way possible, because people forget the more force you absorb, the more force you produce. So if you work on absorbing force in bows from a back chain dominant position, inside ankle bone high, powering through the balls of your feet, that's going to allow you to produce more force. So not only is this GOATA stuff going to keep you out of pain, it's going to make you more explosive because you're loading force the right way, so you produce force the right way.
So taking a look at a back squat, this is an exercise that everybody says is a must-have if you're trying to work on generating more force. But the problem is this isn't at all how you absorb force in a game-like setting. We're taught when we squat to power through our heels. When you try to absorb force by powering through your heels, that's how non-contact injuries happen. You also see he's he's going down with duck feet. So when you do this subconsciously, you're gonna have duck feet on the field or court. When you have duck feet on the field or court, you're not going to absorb force in the most optimal way possible. And when you're not absorbing force optimally, you're not producing force optimally. If we want to reach our maximum athletic potential, we have to train our bodies to load pressure properly and to transfer pressure properly. That's how you're going to be a better athlete, and that's how you're going to stay out of pain. Everybody's really big on plyometrics right now, so today I'm going to give you guys a full breakdown and share my thoughts. Right now, everybody thinks that it's the secret to becoming a better athlete, but it comes with a lot of negative side effects that don't outweigh the positive benefits. More specifically, plyometrics have benefits. They make you really fast twitch. It's a great way to improve your athleticism at first, but what happens is you train your body to essentially land the wrong way. More specifically, this guy is landing with his inside ankle bone low and his knees slightly caving in. The reason why that's a problem is because this is the same position that people tear their ACLs out of. So pretty much you see it again right here. If you're just repping out inside ankle bone low, letting that knee slightly cave in, forming a negative bow, you're going to increase the chances of a non-contact injury. So here, see it again. He's landing the wrong way. He's telling his body to absorb force in a way that's going to lead to more injuries. So when I say he's landing the wrong way, I mean he's landing with his inside ankle bone low. So another way to look at this is the arches of his feet are just collapsing and there's pressure going on the inside edge of the foot. If you rep out subconsciously putting pressure on the inside edge of your foot, it increases the chances of this happening. You're better off doing GOATA training and teaching yourself to land the right way subconsciously. So at GOATA, we teach you to land with the inside ankle bone high and your knee is in this nice strong bow shape. That position is the most optimal way for your body to absorb force, and we see the same pattern in the most durable athletes of all time. There are so many people out there that think weight room strength is going to translate to sports just because they see a guy like Saquon moving this kind of weight. This goes to show how strong Saquon is in the weight room, but him being able to move this amount of weight is not why he moves the way he does on the field. So in other words, having more muscle does not translate to an increase in athletic performance. And probably the best evidence to prove this to be true is that almost every single player in the NFL increases the amount they could squat as the years go on. But their 40 time never increases from what they ran during the combine. It's always either less or the same. The way you truly work on getting more athletic is by fine-tuning your body through GOATA training. So learning how to absorb force with proper movement is what's truly going to make you more athletic. If you learn how to load force the right way, you're going to reduce the amount of pain and inflammation to build up. You're going to reduce the chances of non-contact injury, and the effects of those two things are going to make you more athletic. And just think about it logically. If this is how we move forward in sports, doesn't it make sense to train out of that position? So what looks more game, like this or this? So to wrap it up, obviously exercises like squats are going to put on more muscle mass than you might gain from doing GOATA training. But muscle mass is such a small factor in the actual equation of trying to be a better athlete. So if you want to be more athletic, you have to train your body to move forward the right way. And the way you do that is through GOATA training. Athletes, what if I told you that about half of the stuff you're doing in the weight room is hurting your athleticism more than it's helping it? Exercises like squats, deadlifts, and power cleans are leading to your central nervous system reacting in this reverse motion type of way. I'll explain what that means in a second. We know from studying the best and most durable athletes of all time that this is the way our bodies are optimally designed to move. In sports, we're meant to move forward, so we're out of a back chain dominant position, we got a strong bow, and our inside ankle bone is high. Lastly, this weight is transferred with a corner, meaning that everything is spiraling inward off the takeoff. This is going to lead to the heel flicking away. Now, doing stuff like this in terms of coating your central nervous system does the opposite of what we're trying to accomplish when moving forward. Now, this is considered textbook form for a clean, and the way that we're supposed to clean is that you want your feet to slightly point out, and what happens is that causes the inside ankle bone to drop, and basically you go into this flat-footed position. As a result of that type of training, your central nervous system subconsciously starts cutting with the foot out and the inside ankle bone low. This is the result. There are exercises that we can do to train this forward motion, and as a result, you're going to move more optimally than you would with a power clean. When we do these type of lifts, everything is also about powering through your heels because that's supposedly how you're supposed to activate your glutes and hamstrings and get stronger in the back chain. This leads to our central nervous system subconsciously powering through the heels in order to generate force, which is going to lead to a lot of pain and injury, and it's just going to affect how fast you're moving on the field. If we want to train our central nervous system to properly move forward, we have to do exercises like this, where you're out of a back chain dominant position, you're landing in bows, and you're leaving in corners. And lastly, I just want to say everybody at GOATA understands that some of the best athletes in the world are training these types of ways, and supposedly as a result, squats and deadlifts and cleans are part of the reason why. We're just simply observing that when you train these types of ways, you're going to train your central nervous system to move in the opposite of the most optimal way to move. And I understand that some of the best athletes in the world are doing squats and they're doing cleans, but we're simply just arguing the point that they could be even better. Athletes, what if I told you could train to move like the best and most durable athletes of all time? GOATA is the first form of training that prioritizes strengthening movement patterns as opposed to putting on muscle. These are the 6 global laws of GOATA, and when all of these are followed correctly in a movement pattern, you're going to move in the most optimal way possible. This means that not only will you reach your maximum athletic potential, but you'll be way more durable as a result. So the main thing we do when we want to strengthen a movement pattern is isometrics. Doing the right isometrics not only puts on a lot of muscle in areas that need to be strong, but it also codes your central nervous system to subconsciously land like this on a field. So everything we do at GOATA is out of this inside ankle bone high position. You're also going to notice that their legs are in this bow shape, so their knees are pointed slightly out while their inside ankle bones are high and you have that full toe flexion. Everything we do is also going to be out of a back chain dominant position, meaning that our butt is back and our head is forward. It's called the tail to crown relationship. So the more we do these movements out of this position, we're coding our bodies to be back chain dominant when we're subconsciously moving around on a field or on a court. Being back chain dominant is going to make you way more explosive and way more durable. We see the same thing in the best athletes of all time. It's also important to code into our central nervous system how to properly transfer pressure from one side of the body to the other. So that's why with all of our explosive movements, those heels are flicking away. The reason why is because when we land in a bow, everything spirals out. So to load that bow and transfer the pressure, you need to spiral everything in, which is going to cause the heel to flick away.
If you're deadlifting to be a better deadlifter, fine. If you're not doing that for deadlift's sake, then don't fucking do it. The risk to reward ratio is a joke.
What he just said is absolute facts, and I'm going to break down for you guys why that's true. If you're an athlete and you're still deadlifting at this point, I don't know what you're doing. Now, this is considered textbook form for deadlifting, and he's completely destroying his movement patterns. In order to finish this movement, you want to pinch your glutes and you want to shoot your hips forward. So a lot of people think, oh, this is going to make your glutes really strong. It's good for the back chain. But the problem is on a field or court, you're moving forward. When you pinch your glutes, you don't shoot your hips forward. You do the opposite of that. You bring your hips back. And on a field or court, when you shoot your hips forward, when you're trying to accelerate, it's actually going to activate the quad muscles. It's going to activate the muscles in the front chain. When the front chain becomes overactivated, that's what leads to injuries. So to execute this movement, you have to shoot your hips forward. So that's essentially the exact same thing as telling your central nervous system, when I want to generate maximum force on a field, shoot my hips forward. When you're deadlifting, it's also taught by coaches to just push through your feet as hard as possible. When you're just pushing through your feet as hard as possible, you're inevitably going to be on the inside edge of your foot, and it's going to lead to inside ankle bone low behavior. If you move a barbell with the inside ankle bone low, you're going to cut on a field with the inside ankle bone low. Inside ankle bone low behavior is going to lead to cutting off the inside edge of your foot, which is what leads to injuries. And lastly, if you enjoy deadlifting, if you enjoy throwing weight around, go ahead and do it. I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying that this is not an effective method of training for athletes specifically.